Happy Thursday, everybody. It's Thursday. And if you've been watching my lives for a little while, you know this is my favorite day of the week because it was the day I was born. All right. It is going to be a beautiful day today. I have my friend Vikash Shivdasani coming on, and he is going to talk about his book that's newly released. Okay, I have not got a chance to read it yet, but I am ordering mine. And he's going to share a little bit about his story, a little bit about what inspired him to keep on going, and there he is. So let's get ready to bring my guest on today. You guys, thank you for joining us. All right. Oh, let me do my drum roll. And is it working? Is it working? It's gonna work. Just gotta wait a few moments. Thank you guys for joining me. I see some of my friends are coming on. I have my friend Vikash coming on. He's gonna talk about his book. We're just waiting for it to add. Okay, so I know.
All right.
There we go. Oh, look at your scenery.
I thought I'd show off a little bit,
Yes, that's exactly what you're doing. My friend said your background is so dead sometimes. I'm like, well, look at yours. Thank you for coming on today.
It's not fake, it's real,
Can you hear me good?
You sound a little bit quiet. I don't know why.
Okay, what about now?
That's better.
That's better? Okay. All right. So again, I was telling people that you just newly released a book.
Correct.
Yes, and you have quite a journey, I think, that you've been on that you could share some stuff with us. Go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we'll just jump in.
Absolutely. Yeah, my name is Vikash, or I go by Vic Shivdasani, and I have kind of a crazy story. Almost 15 years ago, I fell off of a third-floor apartment balcony after a night of partying that fractured my spine and led me to become a paraplegic at 22 years old. And so my journey really started from then, and for the first few years, really in a place of non-acceptance. And and in this period, it really like grew my curiosity. I wanted to understand more about spirituality, or manifestation, and how we create our realities and how I could influence my own reality. And so I went on a journey that ended up connecting with books, other spiritual teachers, people like Wayne Dyer and Anita Murjani and Dr. Joe Dispenza, Neil Donald Walsh, like just
I
a lot
love
of these.
all of them.
Yeah, I personally have been able to meet and talk to all of these people, and just refine my approach more and more and more in understanding how to be the best that I can be. And so I wrote this book that encompasses everything, my entire journey. It's raw, it's real, it's so transparent. You ever thought of what a person that's paraplegic would go through? Like, I put it all in there. And even some of my wheelchair friends are like, dude, you're telling them everything. And I'm like, I'm telling y'all everything. It's called Rolling with It, Lessons Learned While Sitting Down.
So awesome. I want to ask you, did you like, so a lot of people say have awakening moment or whatever, but did you already have a curiosity about spirituality before your accident, and that heightened it, or did that start your journey for you?
I've grown up in a spiritual family. I've been exposed to spiritual gurus from India since I was a kid.
Yeah.
So it was always like it was always in my vision. It was always exposed to me. And so but like the accident actually made me want to learn. Like you grow up and you're like, you go to like church, or you go to a temple, or you just do things because you're supposed to do them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it was kind of like that for me. It was just like I would go and I would hear these teachings and I would just see this, but it was very surface.
Yes.
And it wasn't until my accident that I was really like curious on how to embody it. Yeah.
Yeah. It took you on that personal journey. I know it's crazy how that works sometimes, that when things like that happen in our lives, then that's when I think all the little inputs, from our tradition, from our families, and then excuse me, then at some point we have to go on our own search for ourselves.
Right.
Yeah. So one of the things too, I heard you said. So first of all, I seen you had a picture with Anita Moore, Johnny. Okay, I have to tell you. So like I just said, there is so many different there's levels of awakening to me, right? There's not one thing
Sure.
that happens and you're awakened, and then even when you become aware, there's levels within that
It
awakening to
never
have
ends.
awakening. It never ends. So one of my journeys, my daughter, my youngest daughter, went into remission from cancer. We had been in the hospitals for 2 years consistently all the time. And then all of a sudden they said it was finished. And I went into a depression because I didn't know what to do. I felt like I thought I had to have her in the hospital all the time to make sure she was going to stay alive. And, so they would tell me it was
Right.
done. I went into this depression. And I remember my mom listening to Wayne Dyer growing up. And I had this DVD in my house of Wayne Dyer. It was the only thing I could find. And I put it on one day while I was like folding laundry. And I was like, feel so good after. So I went on YouTube looking for him, and he had Anita Moore Johnny as a guest on one, and she was talking about her experience with the cancer disappearing from her body, and I was just like, so I looked at a few more videos. 2 or 3 days later, I was walking, right? I started walking, and I just started learning all this information, well, through like Neil Donald Walsh. I was walking and heard that she was coming to Fort Lauderdale, and
Mm-hmm.
I wrote to her and asked her, I told her, I hadn't understand yet the understanding of manifesting stuff, but I really want to go to this conference. And she
Mm-hmm.
gifted me 2 tickets. She was gonna give up. I don't know if she gave up her and her husband's seat, but she gifted me 2 tickets. Someone, and my life exploded with all those teachers that
Wow.
you just talked about. Yeah, so it was amazing. And I since then, just been learning and sucking in, absorbing from everybody else, and now understanding for myself my own walk too. So were you are you in Arizona right now?
I'm currently in Sedona. Yeah, that's the view behind me.
Yes, everybody says how it's such a spiritual energy in Sedona over there. Is that where your accident happened?
No, I've only like lived here. I only came here like this past year. Um, since January really. So it's really fresh to be here. My accident actually happened in Houston. I'm from Texas, and so yeah, in Houston, I had this accident. I was at my last year of college, and it's interesting about this journey because what it made me come to, because if you really think about it, when something like this happens to you, you resist it, you don't like it, you don't want to have to experience it. And this journey has really been about me seeing this as the best thing that ever happened to me.
That's so
And
beautiful.
in 2011 is when I met Wayne Dyer,
Mm-hmm.
and that's exactly what he told me. He said, "Hey, like this is the best thing that ever happened to you." And at the time when he told me, I was just kind of like, "What are you talking about, dude?" Like, and but like now it's just like as we kind of go on this journey, right? We talk about manifesting, but it's really like things happen the more we connect to ourselves, and the more we like release all the beliefs and all the pain and all the traumas. It becomes like life. You just become in flow with life, right? Like you just become
Yeah,
in kind of connection. And so and so like this book really is like the journey from not accepting, from not understanding any of this, to going on to all these things, learning different concepts here and there, and then applying it, and then constantly getting the evidence in my life that it's working.
yeah,
And then it just kind of like leads you more and more to embody this in every aspect of your life. We're not taught to be this way.
yeah. I know, it's so funny.
And so
We
it
didn't get a
takes,
manual.
right,
What
exactly.
made you and what inspired you to start writing the book, and how did you, your thoughts flowing like at the time? What inspired you to write it?
Yeah, the book has been an idea for a while. I've actually had the title since 2013. And
Oh, wow.
so I've been sitting on it for like 8 years. And like during that time, I wrote like 2 other versions of it. Like I always just felt a calling. I was always just good at writing and good at expressing myself. And so the book was always an idea, but I never, like, a book just sounds like this big thing that,
Yeah,
that you got to do. So like I would start in like maybe get a few chapters in, and I wouldn't look at it for a year,
Yeah.
and it was just a kind of like that. And then the last version I wrote was in 2017, and that I kind of like finalized it for like the place I was in my life at that point. And then I just felt like, I don't know what it was, I just wasn't ready, and I shelved it. And it really wasn't until after COVID that I realized that I need to get, like, I'm talking too
Now.
much. I need to get
Yeah.
this book done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I started it again in April 2020, and I got done, like, my writing portion of it in in September. So it was about like 5 months.
Yeah. Okay. And what is your favorite chapter of your book? What is your favorite chapter?
There's a chapter called Experiencing the Mystical, and it kind of goes through some of the experiences that I had at a Dr. Joe Dispenza workshop. If anybody's
Ooh.
not familiar with Dr. Joe, he's a neuroscientist, and he just studies people's brains and hearts, and like brings energy to such a high level for manifesting and things like this. So I had some very crazy experiences, like visions, out of body experiences, fractal patterns, like just, it was like I was on mushrooms or something, like,
I see.
at the workshop, and
Yeah.
so it really goes deep into that chapter, really goes deep into some of these crazy experiences I had.
Experiences. Oh, that's awesome. I love what Joe Dispenza, Bruce Lipton, Greg Braden, those people do for me is they connect spirit with science. Like one is not without the other. So they give evidence to the spirit, to God, the essence of God,
Right.
the energy of God. And so they give evidence to me of how it works. So I love the way that they do teach and bring about some of their exercises and things for us to help us bring that out too. I know a couple of meditations has helped me too from Dr. Dispenser as well.
Yeah, they're, right on the money. Like, that's what really attracted me to Dr. Joe's work, is because there was so much science, and you could talk
Yeah,
about concepts and how to like perceive your life in so many ways, but when you see real life evidence and readings and graphs and pictures, and like, it's hard
yeah,
to deny it.
yes, yes. What are you hoping that people get from your book? What are you hoping that they take away from it after they read your book?
Well, it's interesting. My book's been out since June 21st, so I've um I've gotten quite a few people who are messaging me telling me that they're realizing how much emotional baggage they have. They're getting clarity on what they want to do with their lives. And so, my story, I'm really expressing it very rawly, and by doing that, I feel like, you know, it's people are really able to connect with it, because it's so everybody connects with the emotions or going through something like that. So I want people to be able to read the book and have this expansion, have this, like,
Yeah,
understanding of like how to actually live this way and how they could apply it to themselves. And people are already telling me that it's happening, so it's pretty cool.
that's awesome. And I seen that you do like videos also on your page, and you have coaching. You have a podcast too, don't you?
Right. So, yeah, I'm a spiritual awakening coach. I work with people to really live like this, and to be able to perceive their life differently, and to really live in the moment, roll with it, going with the flow, and then how to release emotions, how to tune into your intuition, and then how to actually bring those elevated emotions of love, joy, gratitude into your everyday. And so, I take people through a process like that. I also have my podcast, which is called Rolling With It, same name as the book, Rolling With It. And you can find it on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, YouTube, pretty much anywhere. And yeah, and then on Facebook I do these videos I go live every Friday, where I talk about a different chapter of the book. So
Oh
yeah, if
yes,
you
that's
add me
what
on
I've noticed.
Facebook, you can definitely check that out and get the book, join, subscribe to the podcast, and
Yeah.
definitely, if you wanna deep dive with me, we can do that too.
Can you share a little? I know you have the different videos and you have the classes and courses for that, but can you share a tip or a step maybe that you tell everyone that could generally help you get I want to say focused in what you teach?
Right. I think a really significant concept is that, like, that everything is a reflection of you. like everything. And so people live their lives constantly blaming the external person or situation, and it's like almost trying to control it, right? Don't do that. When you do that, it makes me upset and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the real big shift here is to be able to actually look at all these things that happen outside of you as feedback for the internal. So if
So
you're
good.
triggered, if somebody pisses you off, right, instead of being upset at them, go more inward and where is this within me? Where do I
Yeah.
feel this in my body? Where is this coming from? And then, because what triggers are like, I go by like the phrase, the issue is not the issue, right? You think it's this person or the situation that's happening right now, but in actuality, the only reason why you feel a certain way, feeling angry or upset, is because you haven't processed an emotion of a similar situation in the past.
Yes.
So I think it's important to really kind of open up that process by seeing the things that happen outside of you and going within and just kind of realizing that it's not the outside, it's actually just showing you other
Yeah.
things to uncover within you.
What are some of the things that you do to allow those feelings to flow from you from within to find out to identify that?
Yeah, I think one thing that I think is important is like just in like breathing through your mouth when you're in those kind of states, inhaling and exhaling through your mouth. When you
Mm-hmm.
do that, you kind of have a natural tendency to be more in the body. And when you do that, you can sense where that feeling is coming from. If you're
Mm-hmm.
familiar with the chakras, it's usually like in the chakra system, whether it's, your lower stomach or your diaphragm or your chest or your
Mm-hmm.
throat or sometimes your shoulders and back. But, people get caught up in like, why do I feel like this? Or,
Yeah.
where does it come from? And it doesn't really matter. All that really matters is where is it actually located? And if you can find it, because all this stuff is stored in our body. So if you can
Mm-hmm.
actually find it, when you're upset in those states and be like, let me
Yeah.
go within, let me breathe through my mouth and locate that. Once you find that, you can go into that space and really do a lot with it. You can talk to that area, you can breathe through that
A
area, you
lot.
can
Yeah.
you can journal, whatever it is, but just connecting to that space where you actually feel it is going to help you get clarity around whatever that is.
That's almost like a form of how doctors really should be. Instead of giving us the pills and medicine to aid the symptom, it's going in within, like, to really find. And I've noticed that too, even with happiness, every emotion carries somewhere. You can feel it stronger in a part of your body. So like
Mhm.
when I feel the anger or the sadness, or I really feel like, where in my body am I feeling that? And at times I'll go Google metaphysical meaning of my knees hurting or metaphysical
Right.
meaning, and then and I'm like, oh yes, I am like holding back on thoughts of this, or I am worried about, it'll tell you where. And then, like you said, there's so many different tools and methods that you can use to work through that, to bring it up. And like I was talking to one of my friends, I've learned a lot of reprogramming it, retelling a different story. To me, looking at you, listening to some of your stories, that is an example of what you have done. A situation, or let's say event happened to you in your life, and you could choose to tell this story in a victimized way. You could choose to tell this story in a, look at me, in a sad way, or you can choose to say, I am going to make the best out of my damn life that I can, and I am still going to connect to source, to God, in however way I can. And that's what happens, and it reflects, and it's reflecting in your life. It's reflecting in what you're doing and the message that you have out here. So I love that, and I appreciate that spirit guiding you to be able to do that, to share that with us, to remind us too in our walk, no matter what is happening. As Wayne Dye says, when you look at, what is it, the things that you
We
look at
change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
changes. It's true, and you're evidence of that, too. So
Absolutely. I
yeah.
appreciate that for sure.
So if people wanted to reach you, what are some, I know Facebook, and I tagged your name on here. What are some of the ways, excuse me, that they can reach you?
Yeah, for sure. You can go to my website, BeHereRightNow.com. You can also follow me on Instagram. That's at BeHere.RightNow. And I also have another Facebook like page that's Be Here Right Now with Vic, VIK. Those are probably the best ways to reach me. You can schedule an appointment right on my site if you want to have a free session with me, or you can instant message me. I'm the one behind the phone, so you'll
All
be
of it.
talking to me. So for sure.
You don't have the assistant set up yet. You are the assistant.
Uh, uh, I do have a little bit of an assistant, but I talk to people directly.
Yeah. So I want to share really quick because it just popped into my head how I actually met you. It's so funny. I actually went to look. I think I went searching or something happened, and I kept thinking it was your mom. Remember?
Yeah.
Because every morning Nisha sends me prayers, and so I don't remember how your name came. She said I thought she said my son just wrote a book, and I was like, she said you should interview him, and I went to go look for you, and I looked at your book, and I was like, oh my goodness, I love this. I love the energy. I love the feel of everything, and so I kept
Yeah.
telling you your mom preferred me.
Right. Yeah, I remember that.
But I'm so grateful to the universe using her to connect me to find you so I can follow. And I have been seeing some of your posts. I see when you talk about some of your chapters in your book. They say you never know who's looking. You never know. Even though they might not show up on your likes or your comments, there's
Right.
people looking. The message is getting out there. One of the things I was reminded of this morning was nobody needs what we have. They don't need the message. They don't need the lessons. We teach these things because the experience that we've been through
Right.
liberated us. And so we know also in the moments that we had stuck moments and somebody's message helped relieve us, helped inspire us, helped us
Mm-hmm.
somewhere. And so the love of that is why I keep doing this too. I don't feel anybody needs what we're doing. I feel I love doing this. First of all, I love meeting people. I love connecting with people. I love getting evidence of what it is I'm learning and applying to my life is working, like you said. And so I appreciate your love for what you're doing because it is reaching people. Even if you don't see your likes on there, it's reaching people. They're watching it.
Right.
So
Thank you
thank
for that.
you. Yeah, thank
Mm-hmm.
you. Is there anything else that you want to say to the group?
Well, don't forget to get my book,
Yeah.
Rolling with It. Lessons learned while sitting down. Y'all got to get on that. And, thanks for hearing me. Thanks for listening to me. I hope I've provided some insight. And, if any of y'all have any questions or whatever, like literally, please feel free to message me. And yeah, I'll just go back to, we're also always just a work in progress. No matter how far you are on the journey, there's always more to learn. And I think people kind of get caught up in trying to get to a destination.
Yes.
And, this is really about being in the moment, just letting the
It
moment
really
unfold.
is the journey.
Hmm.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I agree.
So,
And then will you do a favor when we're finished? Will you put the links that you said we can reach you at in the comments?
absolutely.
I love uploading these videos on YouTube too. And so I want to be able to use your links to put them there as well. And so people can just find you when they see the video. You never know again who's going to see your video,
Yeah, absolutely.
right?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'll put that in there, and I'll also put the Amazon link how to get the
Everything,
book.
yes. And
Yeah,
your Instagram too, so we can
for
find you.
sure.
I'll find you too and add you.
All right, sounds
All
great.
right. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much for taking time to spend with us. I love your energy. I love you. I love your background. It feels
Thank
like
you.
it's
Thank you
probably
so much. It's been a
exactly where you
pleasure.
need to be at the moment. Yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
and
Blessings
thank
on
you
your
for
book.
having me. This has been great.
Same here. Thank you. Okay. We'll talk again soon and I'll see you on your post.
All right, sounds
Okay.
good.
Bye-bye.
Hmm.
All right, you guys. Thank you for staying and watching. I think that that's amazing. I love when people give examples by their lives. So a lot of people could talk the talk, but when you see somebody really walking the talk, that's inspiring to me. That makes me know that what we're learning can be applied and it doesn't just sound good, but you can actually apply it to your life. Vikash, thank you so much for taking time today. You guys who have watched throughout the live and who will watch later, I appreciate you also. Join me tomorrow. I don't know what to call it yet, our Friday meetings, but James McDuffie will be back on tomorrow. And that conversation is going to be pretty mind expanding, I'm going to say. All right, you guys, enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Enjoy your dinner. Enjoy your family. Thank you again for spending time with me. I love you all.